Hello, everybody. I'm Barry Feeker, Executive Director of the Topeka Rescue Mission, and you're watching In Darkness, a Light Still Shines. Recently, we just had an announcement about the Topeka Rescue Mission and its future and its funding, and I've invited Brad Sloan to join us today to talk about his perspective on the homeless and what they're doing here in Topeka through the Vallejo and how we're networking together. Welcome, Brad.
Thank you, Barry.
Brad, you are working with Vallejo Recovery Center, and you network with us, and you specifically work with folks that are suffering from substance abuse, drugs or alcohol, and just a great partnership. Without going into all of that, Brad, you've been working with the homeless with us for a long time, and since the issue of homelessness and the Topeka Rescue Mission and the future has come up, what is it that's on your heart right now in regards to the importance of the Topeka Rescue Mission not only being here, but what do people need to know about people who struggle with homelessness?
Well, I think that, homelessness across the country is increasing exponentially in the last few years, which is very concerning for me. I think that we, a lot of times we, as a culture, as a country, we fail to address the underlying issues that are causing people to be homeless. One of the things that I talked a little bit about with you a little earlier was the point-in-time count. You're familiar with that. Point-in-time count is something that we do every year. It's done across the country. It's a snapshot of what's happening in the homeless world on a particular day. But I read an article that was talking about what was happening in Orange County, California, which is Los Angeles.
3.5 million people, by the way.
Yes. So it's a really large urban area. But one of the things that they talked about in this article was that they had seen a 12% increase this year over last year in the number of people that were living outdoor homeless. Right. Now, we've experienced that same increase here. We don't see the numbers the same way because we're a smaller community. But we've seen that same kind of increase. But what was more disconcerting for me about that particular article was that 25% of this increase in the number of people that are homeless during the point-in-time count were homeless for the first time ever.
What does that say?
There is a problem. Now, these aren't people that suddenly find themselves mentally ill or suddenly find themselves addicted or whatever else you might associate with being homeless. These are people that are working and suddenly find themselves without a place to stay. Which tells me that the largest majority of people in this country are living from paycheck to paycheck. And all it takes is one catastrophe, one, thing going wrong, and these individuals will suddenly find themselves homeless.
So you find yourself homeless. You've lost everything. Some people say, just get a job. Is that the solution here? Just get a job?
It as much as I would like for it to be that easy, I wish it was, but it's not.
Why not?
Once you enter into homelessness, it is a difficult cycle to get out of, because your priority, what I call your priority hierarchy, kind of flip-flops.
You go into survival mode.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Because maybe you don't know where your next meal is coming from. You haven't had a shower in a few days.
Right.
You do not, especially if you have kids with you.
Yeah.
You're just looking for that next moment of safety.
Yes. Yes. If you're living in a tent, going
if you're lucky enough to have one.
If you're lucky enough to have one, going out and finding a job on a given day is not your number one priority. What does become your number one priority is, if there's rain coming in. We've experienced a lot of rain this year in this part of the world. So is my stuff going to stay dry? That's my number one priority. Secondly might be, I'm worried about the neighbor that I have that's maybe 50 or 100 feet down who's got a tent, who's extremely mentally ill and addicted.
Am I safe?
Am I safe? And if I leave to go get a job, is my stuff safe?
Right. Exactly.
Right. Where am I going to eat that day? What clothes am I going to wear to go get a job? Because everything that I have is dirty.
Yeah. And so just a practical things that you've mentioned there make it very much a barrier just to go get a job. Now, getting a job is important, but you have to get back on your feet, so to speak. You have to have a place that you can clean up, that you can get things in order, that you feel safe. Yeah. That's one of the things that the rescue mission is able to do, is have that opportunity for people to come in out of a situation, if they choose to be able to have this refuge, to be able to come together, to be able to get their life together, to be able then to get in a program and get out and get a job.
Absolutely. And many times that's where we come into play. That's, there's initial issues that we need to deal with, whether it's mental illness or addiction or whatever it happens to be. And once we deal with those issues, that's then we can do what we call a warm handoff.
Right.
A loving warm handoff of this individual to the Topeka Rescue Mission. And the Topeka Rescue Mission then has a lot of great programs that are in place specifically to help an individual end their homelessness. But it's a process. It's not something that you can just go out and do. And a lot of Americans, they don't understand that mindset because it's not part of their experience.
Right. Well, research has shown that after about 72 hours of going from stability, like you had a place to be, and to homelessness, that it changes your whole mindset in regards. I did a little experiment, and it's in Darkness the Light Still Shines book. Back in 1987, I hit the streets of Chicago for 3 days. And I still had a driver's license and a MasterCard stuck in my clock, down in my socks as I was on the streets. But within 3 days, I was in survival mode. Even knowing I could bail out, just thinking about what people couldn't do if they had no driver's license, no identity, no MasterCard to bail themselves out. But I got into survival mode being on the streets for just 3 days. I needed to know what that was like. I went back to O'Hare Airport to get back to Topeka, and I'm looking around. I don't feel like I belong with these people. And that was just an experiment, let alone if I'd really been in that situation. So people go from planning and life is working in this direction to going down this spiral to hopelessness and desperation. And so working with Vallejo, working with other agencies in the community, and having this refuge that I've really learned more and more is what a rescue mission is. It's a place that people can feel secure, that they can regroup in life and have an opportunity to go forward.
And understand that they matter.
Because
that's one of the things, that's one of the first things that goes away.
That's right.
When an individual finds himself in that situation, is that they no longer matter.
Yeah. The bottom line question that we all ask, do I matter?
Yeah. Do I matter?
Yeah.
And when they are able to access these services, they begin to rediscover that, yes, they do matter. And at one point in their life, they knew that they mattered, but things changed. And so they find themselves living in a tent that's full of bed bugs and whatever else, having to protect their things from the mentally ill guy that's just down the path, or worry about keeping things dry, as I've already mentioned, or, any myriad other things. Those things become more important than the person.
Right. Brad, you talked about Orange County, California. That's what's called the West Coast crisis now.
Yeah.
California, Oregon, Washington. It's an explosion of homelessness. We have it here too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, the percentages of increase of homelessness are greater here per capita than they are in California right now.
Yes, I would agree with
homeless camps have exploded here. Rescue Mission has been full predominantly for the last decade. We've been moving things around, those programs. But back to this, do I matter? I believe Topeka matters. I believe that the citizens of this community, even though there will be people that don't quite understand what homelessness is or poverty or survival, whatever, they really, when they stop and think about it, they know that other people matter. And that's what we've seen in my time here for 33 years. The rescue missions have been around for 66 years, never taken a dime of government funds, don't plan to, because we believe that the people that are in this community know that other people matter.
Yeah.
And so, yes, we're in a rough time right now with the rescue mission and financially, if things have fallen off, whatever, but we are seeing that people do believe that people in our community who are probably at the worst point in their life do matter.
Yeah.
And so, Brad, I want to just thank you for being here today, just to kind of give that perspective that people really do matter. It's been a great partnership, and we continue to work with you, whether we reach out into the streets or whatever, to help people understand that they matter. So thank you for being here today. Thank you for watching or listening to the podcast In Darkness, a Light Still Shines. You can actually see our podcast information out here of a weekly broadcast, comes out every Thursday. Go to YouTube, In Darkness, a Light Still Shines, because that's what we believe. There is darkness, but the light still shines. Or you can go to Google or Apple Podcasts and listen to this as well. People do matter. You matter. God knows you matter. This community is coming together again to say to that person, that forgotten dad, or that scared mom, or that little child who for this time in their life are questioning, as Brad said, do I matter? That they do matter. Thank you for helping them to understand that. Thank you for supporting. In just a moment, you will be able to see ways that you can help the Topeka Rescue Mission address these financial challenges that it has today, and to help, more important than that, to understand that people matter. Thank you for being with us. God bless you.
If you would like to support Topeka Rescue Mission Ministries, text TRM Give to 77977 and start giving today.
Dear Lord, you know every detail of our life. You know the trials and discouragement we face. As we travel through life, help us to find true hope. May all our hopelessness flee as our hearts and minds receive your perfect love and grace. Thank you for your assurance that we matter. In Jesus' precious name, amen.
Thanks for joining us. Our goal is to inspire, inform, and equip you to engage in the community around you. Join us next week for another episode of In Darkness, a Light Still Shines.